Hello everyone and welcome to State of the Realm. We are fresh off that patch 6.3 excitement and already thinking about what other games we're going to play while we wait for next patch, but we're not going to talk about that much. We'll save that for somewhere later down the line when we talk about Ultimate and Orthos and all that stuff, and maybe a little bit today. But anyway, today, first impression on 6.3, and to do that, you're going to need a couple of hosts, just the two of us. I'm one of them, Mr. Happy, and of course, joining me is some giant football fan that seems to have replaced Sly and is taking his place here today. How are you doing, football person?
Yeah, he was always there. Like, he just didn't wear the paraphernalia, but I'm doing well.
I can tell. You seem very it's festive? It's spirited.
Let's say spirited.
Yeah. Do you got something going on tonight? Tonight?
No, not tonight.
Yeah. Oh, this is Blitzball team, the Dolphins, right? Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that's
the Blitzball Dolphins. Yeah, boy.
The Blitzball Dolphins. Perfect. Well, I as someone who doesn't follow football, I hope that it was fun, will be fun, is going to be fun.
We'll find out Sunday.
Okay. There you go. Is it the Super Bowl?
No, playoffs.
Okay. All right. I was going to say, I just never keep track of the football stuff. I just wait for the ads to go on YouTube and then that's it. Except, although after last year's halftime show, I don't want to watch any more halftime shows. I'll just rewatch last year's halftime show. That was a good halftime show.
That was dope.
Well, we got 6.3 to talk about, Sly, so
we sure do.
cut all the sports talk, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, before we do that, though, shout out to our sponsors. First off, over on Patreon, thank you for supporting. We love you. You don't have to support there. All of our content is available for free. We live stream this on Fridays at noon Pacific on Twitch when we do a show, unless we have to change it, and it's otherwise uploaded on YouTube the next day. But we do appreciate those people as well, so thank you to them. We, of course, have our regular sponsors as well. Steel Series sponsors. No giveaway this month, just the usual shout out for them. 12% discount code, keyboards, mice, all that good stuff. And Advanced GG, which actually just released their own line of vitamins, gummy vitamins and whatnot. I just ran out of mine, so I actually need to get some. And I think my 30% discount code is working for a short time for that. So ADVGG in the chat takes you there. Discount code's there. So, and it'll be in the description on the YouTube video. Sly, we're going to be trying to make this paper this year. That's 2023.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we're gonna.
By the way, before anything, did you do Heaven CERN? Yeah.
No.
Didn't get your fortune.
No, I don't have my fortune. How long does it take to get your fortune? Because
it really doesn't take long. It's like a few quests and whatnot, and they don't take long. So yeah, I got my fortune. Sticking with it.
Yeah, it is almost over. I do have to do it. When does it end? Should be 15th. 15th? Yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say it's usually about 2 weeks. Yeah, I gotta get it done. Maybe tomorrow or maybe later, because I haven't gotten my fortune taken. 16th. Wow, everyone just gave me like a million different answers. I don't even know what to trust anymore.
I mean, we do have the fucking lodestone, so I mean, I guess I could go check there.
Yeah. No, everyone's saying it's like 2 days. For some people, it's the 16th, depending on where you live. For some people, it's the 15th. Oh, no, there it is. The Heaven CERN ends January 16th at 6:59 a.m. Pacific. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Perfect. Well, that's one more thing I have to get done before I worry about too much else. But Sly, it's patch season.
It is.
It sure is. And we've had a few days now with patch 6.3, at least the initial wave of content, because we are still waiting on Ultimate. We are still waiting on Deep Dungeon. We are still waiting on relic advancements, both for Crafter and for combat. And of course, they're still waiting on the tribal quests. Now, Sly, last week, towards the end of the show, we got into a discussion about volume of content on initial release. Have you had a change of feeling after doing 6.3 over the last few days in regards to the backloadedness of everything versus the front-loaded content release schedule?
Yeah, I'm still the same mind. We had a few laughs, we had some good times, whatnot, a couple days of content. Now you have until
24th.
What? Yeah,
24th. I have until do 24th. Other shit. You are not going to be putting 16 hours a day, so you have like a lot of time now before your next major thing.
Yeah. Although I think I will be working with Frosty for the the broadcast. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'll be doing a few hours in there. So I'll be looking at you.
Staring.
Yeah. Staring at you.
Don't be weird.
Intently.
We're gonna go into normal mode and just like kill Omega in normal mode, just to trick you guys when you're not looking. That happened during I think that happened during DSR at some point. DSR or T that happened.
But yeah, like I think the way it's set up is good for me. Not speaking for like, hardcore raiders who are going into Ultimate and everything. I mean, you have more staggered content than anything. Like 2 weeks later, you're in Ultimate. You have shit to do. Few weeks later after that, you'll probably have like, Deep Dungeon and other shit to do.
A few weeks after that, I got Octopath. Then a few weeks after that, I got that.
Yeah.
Octopath on the top of this brain right now for February, baby.
Have fun with that.
Sure will.
Like I'm a fan of the staggeredness of the content.
Well, I'm glad it works for you, because I've been churning everything out over the past few days, and now I'm like, okay, I have time for other stuff, and I'm like, this is going to be a discussion. Although we'll talk about some different elements of things that I actually have very, very positive feelings about.
Okay.
A little bit later, but I mean, there's like something in particular they did here that I think they need to do a lot going forward. But we'll get to that as we go over the content. Now, before we go over any of the content, two things. One, we're not going to talk about direct MSQ spoilers, but we will be naming the bosses and all the content. That does mean the trial and the dungeon and the 24-man, which the 24-man, you should already know the bosses already if you watch the trailer. So that's not even really a spoiler, but no direct, like,
or if you have Twitter
story or Twitter. Yeah. Or if you have Twitter and you checked your trending sometime in the last fucking 3 days. Nafika's still trending for me. Still seeing retweets. Still seeing tweets. Still seeing.
Can we fucking get Halone trending, please, and thank you?
Nope. The answer is nope. No. They sure can't. Oh, the internet is so horny. Anyway, so endlessly horny. Regardless, the second thing is that this patch, before even considering the content, has had kind of a weird air about it, because it's had a strong amount of bugs and server-related connection issues, and as someone from Primal, you should be well aware of that.
Actually, no. Surprisingly, no. First day of patch was relatively okay. Second day of patch, I was really the main thing I wanted to do was, get my crafted set done. So pretty much all I was doing for like a couple of hours was doing like a bunch of pre-crafts. But while I was doing that, I was playing GBO 2. And then after that, I actually crafted my full crafter and gather set and melded on my main hand and, right side, left side. So that's done.
That's good, because actually, not something I would have probably brought up, but it does kind of fall in line with the topic I said like just 2 minutes ago that I wanted to I kind of give them a compliment for with this patch. It is a lot of tomes to do those crafter sets and gatherer sets.
Holy fucking shit.
8,000.
You better be rich.
8,000 tomes. Yeah. You
better be fucking rich, because I looked at my tomes, but I'll take the fucking hit. I just took the fucking hit, like guild wise. I'm like, I don't mind. And yeah, it's a lot. Like fucking grip gels. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God. either you have a lot of gil that you can sink into this, or it's going to be a few days.
You better catch some hunts. You better catch some trains is what you better do, because you're going to need those tomes.
Yep.
And that's something that I actually am glad they did. Now, not specifically the Crafter-Gatherer sets being so many tomes, but that does fall in line. There are a lot of small goals that are set aside by very, very, I won't call them long-term, but I'll call them expensive relative to the content that you're doing. They set up a lot of stuff that is like that. So they have the Crafter-Gatherer. Speaking of which, the Crafting and Gathering stuff, is that per crafter? Or is that just one crafting set for all of them?
One crafting set for all of them.
Okay, that's what I thought.
The main hand, offhand tools, and then gather, same thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought it was. They have like the crafting and gathering stuff, each being a massive amount of tomes or gil investment. They have the new mount, the Blackjack mount, which is 4 million MGP. It's a 4-seater, but they missed the Final Fantasy VI music, and I actually will talk about that a little bit later because I have a theory about that. They have 2 50 million gil mounts, not one for 25 million and one for 50. That lamb should not be 50 million gil. I refuse to believe that they actually thought that was a good idea and didn't just want that. You have the Island Sanctuary stuff increases. You have a new mount from maps as well as the new gear from maps. I don't know if you know about that. There is a new mount from treasure maps. A red Ixion. You need 3 horns to craft the item. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
Okay. There's a mount and an armor set in the series this time, not just one or the other. So they like pumped rewards into a lot of casual stuff that if you were to just try to do the content for the sake of earning the reward, it would actually be like it would be considerably high. And the elephant. I didn't even know about the elephant. You have the elephant from maps as well. You have 2 mounts from maps.
Oh, right, now. Pinky.
Yeah, Pinky. Yeah. And all I gotta say is, like, if you're gonna backload patches content-wise, front-loading rewards like that is something that does offset at a decent bit. Because I don't have 4 million MGP. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to log in. I'm going to do the new Leap of Faith. I'm going to go do, my fashion log and my challenge logs every week, on top of everything else that I'm doing. I got to earn the gil back for those mounts. I got to day by day work at the crafting and gathering sets.
Speaking of maps, I'll just go ahead and say right now, the price has probably gone down in the market board for them. If they are still in terms of the Athea Taurus maps, if they're still above 100,000 gil, wait till they go down. It's not like the rewards, the initial rewards for like what you would normally get on average ain't worth that much.
No.
So just stick with the normal Kumbira skin maps. It's like wait till you can either gather it or wait till it goes down in price in the market board because it's not worth the money you would have to pay right now.
Another comment, separating the maps had another effect I hadn't thought about. And again, this goes into like, they've done a lot of stuff that's like good economy wise. There are plenty of people who don't do the maps necessarily. They just get a map a day and sell them. Having 2 different maps that people have to choose between on their daily gather, and they can only get one of them, kind of raises it raises the gil that you could possibly earn from it, even just getting a map a day and selling it. So even once those come down, they'll probably be higher on average just because right now people are going to flood the one, but eventually people are going to probably split between the 2, or one's always going to be more expensive and then people will get that one to set. It's going to go back and forth, and those kind of decisions are actually pretty good for the economy in terms of people feeling like they have an easy to access method of earning gil. So there's a lot of decisions they made with stuff like this that I think were good decisions in terms of getting players to get involved with content.
Yeah. So after all that, all that being said, are you okay with the backloading of content?
I still think Relics and Eureka at the same time is a bad idea. That in particular, I don't think. I think Tribal Quests is fine, but I
would agree with it only if they were tied together. If they were tied together,
it makes more sense for them to be together at the same time. Yeah. You agree with? Okay, I thought you meant you would agree with my. Okay, no, I misunderstood. Yeah, I think that's a lot at once. Especially because there is also the tribal quests. There's the crafter relics. It's also the fact that it's combat, crafter, relics, and Orthos all at the same time. So
Yeah.
I feel like they could have taken one of those and put them sometime earlier, maybe even like a 0.2 or a 0.3 or something. If they want to go staggered, like release something every 2 weeks instead of doing all of them, like either it's on patch 2 weeks later or 8 weeks later, which is what it is right now. So even just splitting them up 2 weeks apart, like Battle Relics 4 weeks in, Crafter Relics 6 weeks in, Orthos 8 weeks in, that I think would be even better if they wanted to do that. But making the rewards the way they did now, if they could do that on the average, at least odd numbered patch, maybe. I think the way they structure the rewards here is better than it has been in the past. And there's a lot of rewards just in the patch in general. I mean, the Corgi is Fox Hollows to boot. Like everyone was like, I'm going nuts for the Corgi minion. That's Fox Hollows.
Yep.
So there's just they just spread everything out like really, really well. I'm surprised how well it worked, even if I still don't 100% agree with how it's spaced out. But now that we've covered kind of just a general vibe about certain aspects of it, we do want general vibes of the story-related stuff. Since we're not going to dive into it, we should just get our general feelings about it. Was it good? Did we like it? Was it filler? I've seen a lot of different opinions about it. So MSQ, without going into any spoilers, where are you? Where are you with that? How is the advancement of the story this time for you?
I kind of appreciated the pace of it for where we went, what we experienced, without saying anything. It was good. A lot of unexpected things. There that again, from the initial trailer, a bunch of misdirection, and good on them. Like they gotten so good at misdirection. But yeah, I appreciated the pace. I appreciated the surprises because we did have expectations. We did have predictions in terms of what we talked about this in terms of where certain things were going to be and how I got them. I had a few, okay, all right moments. So all in all, really, really solid story patch. If I had to throw a number at it, I'd say an 8.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. The pacing is actually the number one thing that I wanted to discuss. There was very little wasted time in this patch.
Right.
There was maybe one part where I was like, it wasn't even that bad, but it was just if there was any part I had to name, there was one part in particular. But it was sort of split into acts, is how I would put it. And each act kind of progresses at a pretty decent pace. So you move between the plot points and the setup and everything really, really quickly. And sometimes that's not. Sometimes we come out of a quick story patch or something that feels quick, and it feels like it stopped too early or it stopped at a bad point. This definitely didn't feel like it stopped at all at a bad point or at something it shouldn't have done. I'm really, really curious how 0.5 and 0.55 are going to go, because that was the last time we really had that criticism, especially 5.55, where it was just hey, we're done. And it's just
what?
We're stopping there? What do you mean Endwalker's coming, I guess. Moving on. So,
right.
Yeah, unfortunately, nothing like that. I don't want to say too much else, because I feel like I have to go into spoilers to talk about anything else.
Yeah.
And before we get into the dungeon, the trial, which are the only spoilers we'll have, are the names of the bosses that are there. We can also briefly talk about the Euphrosyne story. I call it Euphrosyne because I don't care.
Euphrosyne?
Yeah, Euphrosyne. Yeah. Again, with no spoilers. This, all I can say, it's very, very much a Glaya 2. It's straight up just exact same direction, going fun. And Yoshi P said to expect. We talked about it last week. He said it was just going to be more fun and fun and fun and more fun with fun included.
So much fun. So much fun.
Little did we know that he meant fun bags in the case of the first boss, because everyone.
Oh my god!
Listen, my Twitter is still doing it. There's nicknames all over the place because people are animals. My favorite's Nafikas. That's it. Just Nafikas.
Like, just forget anybody, any other deity was there. Just Nafika.
Bro, people went and bought Fantasias just to change their deity without changing their character. I can assure you of that.
I mean, there was just so much more. Like, you know, other shit was interesting about the fucking
24 man.
24 man.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I mean, you know, like, you know, all thick and Namiya, that was done really well. I wasn't expecting that, but goddamn, that was good. Of course, Halone, my mommy. Yeah. Yeah. And then Menfina, aka Hatsune Miku, with
a gauntlet.
With Doggo.
And a gauntlet.
Doggo.
It was weird.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Nafika.
Yeah. But yeah, story-wise, it's honestly even kind of hard to spoil the story. You have to talk about such specific details for it to be as well. And those details are there. They absolutely give us a lot to chew on, and I think that, you know, in a future show when we get to talk about that, it'll be fun. But it's clearly not going to be a high stakes 24 man, which I definitely preferred high stakes. Even though Yoshi P set us up to say us that it wasn't high stakes, like he's been saying that for ages, and said the second one wouldn't be either.
I kind of appreciate the levity of it now. Like we like in Aglaya, we went in kind of all serious, like about, okay, we're fighting this well. Holy shit, they got some problems with us. No, the fuck they don't. They just want a good time. Like, I appreciate the levity now. I appreciate it just being a good time. Yeah, and that's all it is. It's just a good time. It's just fun. Like you said, fun.
That's all it's meant to be.
Fun.
So that's it. Those are our general feelings story-wise in regards to those things. Now, since we're already on the topic of the 24 man, I will say that it felt. No, Aloha. This isn't your time. It felt like they dialed back a little too much on. I don't even want to call it difficulty. I don't feel they were creative enough with the bosses and the mechanics this time around, because while I find the fun, I love the music. The fiddle is amazing. It's the fiddle from the trailer. It's there. It's awesome. I love hearing the bosses' voices. I love the interactivity. Everything looks beautiful, but the bosses were, even from Aglaya, I think, a step back. Personally.
Wow. I'll agree for the most part. I'll agree with Nafika. Surprisingly, I'll agree. Well, not so much Halone.
I'll give Halone a pass only because I think Menfina is too much like Halone right after you fight Halone. Yeah,
exactly. The initial shock factor of Althic and Namiya was interesting enough. Like, once you kind of get down to it, like it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. Like, both of them were pretty simple. The fact, like, the initial shock factor of like, oh shit, you're fighting brother and sister. Holy shit. And the initial, like, seeing the mechanics. Yeah, interesting the first time. Second, like any other time, it's just so I'd say again, Nafika
is probably the one that I thought was like the most kind of dialed back. I feel sort of that way about Menfina, but not as much as Nafika. Nafika's. I mean, you look at the first boss of Aglaya, you know, and you have the platforms being knocked to the side, and don't get me wrong, super easy boss as well. They both topple over and don't have like a crazy amount going for them. But even still, then I think of like Rhalgr
Vulgar. Yeah. Interesting arena.
Yeah.
Rhalgr's arena was interesting. Yeah. One thing I will say about Althic and Nemea, we didn't have it happen. We were close.
Yeah.
We were really fucking close.
Scary.
I didn't see what happened. I wanted for people to like fuck up on purpose just to see what happened at the end of that counter.
Funny thing is, it's in the trailer. Yeah, Theron Rage is in the trailer. They use it in there's a spot where like people are lifted up. That's Theron Rage.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
And so minutes until victory. I'm like, wait, what?
I really like that's the thing I really do like about these 24-mans. While even though they're like, I think still even for this, like I'm actually my 24-mans every week. I'm gonna be setting up pre-mades every Tuesday, except for like Ultimate Tuesday. I'm gonna mid-item level it, to be honest, just so it'll be a little bit more chaotic and fun. Because I think some of that is us being 25, 35 item levels over it, on top of it already not being that hard. So
yeah.
So I'm definitely going to mid-item level that. But it's still like, well, the flavor is nice, but it's just a little too on the easy side. It's like Void Arc. Like, they apologized for it being too easy. It's like that. In my opinion, personally. So, yeah, like the Nemea and Althic thing, I love the speeding up of the mechanic to like make it go, but there weren't enough mechanics having to have it done with. I think by the time most people kill them, you've maybe seen it twice. You've seen it on the cards and you've seen it on the water knockbacks. But then he's supposed to do it on the wave in the middle, and then like after the first hit, it just blasts everything else like super quick. Yeah. And then also the cards can be different each fight. I actually got both sets of cards in 2 runs. I was surprised. I thought it was going to take more runs than that to get the footage I needed. But yeah, no, it's I don't mind fun, but it needs to be engaging too. So I think on the third one, don't crank it up a lot. It doesn't have to be slow and overlong like Tower at Paradigm's Breach or anything, but crank up the creativity. That's why I think it's creativity and not just difficulty.
Yeah.
So, because Menfina is also just like a bunch of half-room AoEs, and it's like, that was Halone's thing. She just did that. Why are we doing that again?
Yeah. Right.
So,
but it's the moon.
Yeah, that's it. It's literally just there's moons instead of spears.
Moon and puppers.
Yeah. Oh, the dog could have done more. The dog literally just does this.
Yeah, I was really disappointed in that.
He's just like, that's all I do. I'm going to jump over here and do the same thing. And that's all. So.
Now, this does, like, it's been brought up. And it kind of does beg the question, because when you think of, utilizing your content like this, like, in Ultimate kind of form, I can't think of, like, Void Arc. Maybe Void Arc, yes. Crystal Tower, not really. I can't think of it like that. Yorha, definitely fucking not. Better not do an ultimate fucking Yorha. Please do not ever use Yorha for anything else in this game.
Damn it, I thought I was harsh, but also true.
But even like without having the rest of the 12, I would be okay if this were an ultimate. I'd be like, this would be like, I could just see them getting creative with the 12. Yeah. It's kind of easy to see. It's not apparent now. It's not apparent here where it's like, accessible to everyone. Crank that sumbitch up for Ultimate. Please.
Yeah.
It would be so fun.
If there's a 24-man I would like to see cranked up to a higher difficulty, it's this one. Somewhat because it's too easy now, but also just because of how symbolic it is within Final Fantasy XIV's, lore and world. And definitely what I personally needed after getting an expansion's worth of Well, one of two 24-man's last expansion that didn't add anything to Final Fantasy XIV's world. This was something I need, because I've always said 24-mans don't need to be hard. They just need to make the world more interesting. They when they're used for world building is when they're at their best. Crystal Tower has retroactively become a better 24-man just because of its involvement in the rest of the game and everything else. So, I do think, as chat said, Ivalice was a good balance of the two. Just too text heavy, which is a very Matsuno thing, so I'm not surprised by that. I feel like that was a good balance of something that's familiar and a reference, but also brand new to Final Fantasy XIV and expands the world and all that. So it's rare that they've managed to strike that balance like perfectly, though. But this I would like to see a Savage for. I've had this discussion a lot the past few days because you know what? I thought of another mechanic that I'd like to see in like a large scale raid, but like a DRS, like a 48-man Savage. I was doing duty support, Sly, and I did anti-tower, and I got to Calcabrina, and she did Dollhouse, and I was like, now imagine if in a 48-man Savage you had a Calcabrina boss that did 24 people got locked in the dollhouses. Half the raid just locked away in the dollhouse. There's so many AoEs. Listen, I think it would be fun.
That sounds like PTSD.
Listen, no, DSR is PTSD, and I've been reliving that the last couple days, so whoop-de-doo for me. Yeah, that's how I feel. That's not the only place I got that PTSD this patch either, Sly.
What's up?
The other duty support, the new Hraesvelgr in the end of Sorkai.
Oh, it's like, I haven't touched that.
Future! Just future! Just in the corner. Oh, man. What a time. Anyway, wrapping up on the 24-man gear rewards. I'm not a huge fan of the gear from this one either, personally.
It's okay. I mean, it's like, again, most of it's like what Griffith from Berserk. That's all it reminds me of. Is just Griffith.
That's it. I mean, I guess I'm not like, I don't watch or read or anything like Berserk or whatnot. So, or any anime really. So I'll take your word for that. But I got the white mage body, and I was like, okay.
Just okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just,
I got it. It's fine.
I have it. Yeah. There's so many other
that wind up Polone though.
Yeah, I almost won. I rolled a 95 and lost it. So no, I rolled a 97 and lost it. Sorry. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was rough. But I mean, whatever. I'm going to be doing it every week anyway. Even if I don't get it, I don't really care that much. But still,
I want it.
I want it too. Gear from other things that we have new High Allagan sets from Trophy Crystals, if I recall, over in PvP.
Ooh.
Yeah, they die a completely different way than the old High Allagan, and in fact, they die the way that people wished they did way back when. Thus, this is now the true High Allagan, and also Labyrinth of the Ancients dyeable stuff too. Yeah, so. The revamped redyeable gear, literally exactly what people have been asking for from these sets for years. Even saw one of our 4 horsemen go on about it over on Twitter, saying like, I've waited so long, Mary, that is. I've waited so long for a properly dyeable High Allagan set. And so that's pretty nice. And again, it's those little details. Like, those are the things this patch really nailed quite well, even though there's been all the server issues and everything, which... let me tell you about those server issues. I have only been thinking of Angelus for the past 4 days and being like, please let the servers be stable for him. Because for those who don't know, if you're watching this live over on Twitch, there is a Palace of the Dead speedrun in GDQ by our very own Angelus Demoness in 5 hours and 30 minutes.
Angelus is on Prime, wasn't he?
I've never heard someone so concerned to say that if they're not me. Normally, I'm the one who says something like that.
Like, I just had to ask. He's on Prime, wasn't he? Can I get confirmation in chat?
Should be. Unless he decided to go to like Dynamis or something for it.
Yeah, I would say like as a precaution, just go somewhere else.
Well, he can't now. I mean, actually, no. I think you can go between the data centers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take. For some reason, my brain was like, it's gonna hold your file on the. That's not how it works. That would be weird.
No.
I also wouldn't be surprised actually if it did somehow. Yeah. I don't know if he's considering that or not, but yeah, I would highly advise not doing it on Primal and doing it on Dynamis instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's in 5.5 hours, so be sure to tune in. Don't miss it, because 171 through 180 is... And also, Frosty's on the couch, the digital couch, if I recall.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be a hell of a time. Looking forward to it. He's got backup files on every data center. All right. So I guess they are saved per data center. He's just got backups.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. Back onto the topic. Duty support, since I briefly brought it up. There weren't that many changes to most of the dungeons. I don't know if you've done them yet.
No. Not the revamp dungeons, no.
But I have a favorite thing about them, Sly.
What's that?
Do you know who the 4th party member is for Great Google Library?
No.
Pero Rogo, the frog. he fills whichever role you don't have. Yes, he can tank. Yes, he can heal. And when he tanks, he jumps. He frog jumps into range.
He's an all-rounder. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, he uses some blue mage spells in there. Like, he uses frog legs for AoE to get aggro and everything.
That is fucking ignorant, but fun.
It's really good. It's a really good detail.
It
was, and he has hallowed ground to boot. He fucking has hallowed ground. I know that because Alphino refused to heal him for about 25 seconds straight. I guess he doesn't like frogs. I saw him casting Ruin, and I was like, Alfie? It was really good. Yeah, that was a fun little detail. The boss changes in almost all of them, though, there's almost no actual changes to most of the bosses, or like such a small change you almost can't notice it. What's a good example? Biblos, the Gale cuts don't destroy the fire orb anymore, and there's a tank buster icon. So you know how you're supposed to kite the orb like to knock him out of the book? Yeah. That the Gale cuts used to destroy that if they touched it. Now it doesn't. So that's like the only significant change. The last boss is the orb. You know how the ever-living Bibliotaph, it like targets you with an orb that pulses over and over again? It just blows up one time now. Like, Alphino literally he got targeted both times. He stood in the middle of the fucking room and just dropped it there and then moved out of the AoE later. He's like, I'm not dealing with this now. I got uptime, bitch.
Okay.
No interest. It was pretty funny. What else? And then so Etherochemical last boss is totally different. It kind of has mechanics that you eventually see in Hades, but not because it's Ascian Prime. You know, Hades has the Ascian Prime phase for all that.
Yeah.
It has like a Grand Cross Ascian in a sense where it's like, 5 different debuffs that go off in like a staggered fashion. It was okay, but I do kind of miss the first half of that phase with the sliding and all the fire AoEs on the ground and shit. That was fun. What else changes? Oh, for Palestar's wall, there's one single change. There is a tank buster icon for Griffin. I went through the whole dungeon to find out that is the only change that they made. Everything else.
And you just say it would probably be on Griffin. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it says Griffin in the patch. Like, the patch note tells us exactly which bosses are changed. They did also change some trash though. In Sorkai, you remember the little birds that just murdered everyone before the second boss? They're like little cockerels.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They removed they used to cleave on their autos. They don't cleave on their autos anymore. So the murder doesn't happen anymore. The murder's completely gone. Yeah.
Ooh.
They got rid of all of the cleave autos in Sorkai. They also made the cloud drop on the second boss. It only hits once. It's much like the other orb. It doesn't pulse constantly. It only hits a single time. Hraesvelgr is completely different. Hraesvelgr is literally mini DSR now, which I miss the old Hraesvelgr, but I think this is actually the better boss. If I was thinking as like a player who was brand new to the game, I think this Hraesvelgr would have been better than the other one in terms of like preparing you for Nidhogg and like actually like transferable skills between bosses, because almost no boss do you have to like hop between platforms other than what this and Hullbreaker, I think, or old this and Hullbreaker. So yeah, I think it's objectively an improvement, but other than that, it's just a few like really tiny changes, so barely noticeable. Those are done. Now just Stormblood left, which I think is almost not going to change at all. I don't see why they would. Some changes they didn't document in the patch notes, though, weirdly enough.
Which ones?
Demon Tome in Gooble, they make no mention of him. But he no longer drops a baited AoE on players. Like, they just removed his placed AoE that he aims at a player. That's it. That's all they did. So, that was weird. Then we have the dungeon. Like I said, the only spoilers that we're going to have is who the bosses are for the dungeon and the trial. And we had a lot of discussion last week about where we would see our remaining 4 fiends. And one of those things did come true, because the dungeon boss ended up being Cagnazzo.
Nice. Nice pronunciation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was a really good dungeon, in my opinion. I feel like their dungeon quality has been very high the whole expansion. Right from the beginning, it's been one of the highest quality dungeons. And this, I feel like, continued that very, very well.
So you think it's gone up from Troya? Like, the quality's gone up from Troya?
I actually think Troya was one of their...
so many times. Like, after, like, getting it so many times for roulettes and everything. Would you, like, do you think this is better?
I think Troya was actually lower quality than Alzadal, mostly because of the first boss. I think that really drags the dungeon down a considerable amount, whereas Alzadal has 3 pretty good bosses for a dungeon. This, I think all of the bosses were good. I think the trash and the way that the dungeon is structured is good. I think aesthetically it's good. It has a remix of the Tower of Babel theme, which I very much appreciated because I love the Tower of Babel theme. And yeah, no, it's just a good dungeon. I love that the dungeon starts you. It's kind of like not Anamnesis.
Catesis?
Is it Anamnesis? Is Anamnesis the second one? Which one's the first one? I forget.
Are you thinking of Catesis?
No. I'm thinking of Shadowbringers, Anamnesis, Anator. I just can't remember because there's 2 Anators, and I always forget which one's which. I have the game. I should just pull it.
Are you talking about Academia or Anamnesia?
Yeah, because there's Academia and Anamnesia, and I forget which one's which. Okay, Anamnesis is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, you know the start with where it's like you're just on Bismarck's back and they just throw you into the trash. Yeah. It's got that vibes, and I actually kind of like that. The almost the no running right to the first trash pull. Almost everyone I know accidentally triggers the trash pull as soon as they enter this dungeon, because it's just like it's a step in front of you to like force the sequence to begin. And I like that. Yeah. First boss, everybody gets hit by the stampede the first time. Well, if you're standing there and you're just like, what's happening? And then you're just like, there's like snow off on the side. You're like, what's going? Ah!
It's like the way I had like my camera faced though for that, like I kind of saw it coming. So thank God I had my camera faced off to the side. It was just a matter of being on the right side. Like, they could have, like, switched it up and had it go on both sides, but I think it like, for me, it just came on the same side every time. They came from the same side.
No, I think I did it a bunch of times last night, and it started changing. But either way, I definitely got Mufasa'd once.
Oh, it can be either side. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, I did a bunch of it last night, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that I saw it come from either side. But yeah, I got Mufasa'd the first time. I definitely...
Long live the king.
No living. Indeed. No living at all. But then, just all. And then the second boss is cool. The second boss gives me kind of Dead Ends vibes because it has dooms.
Yes.
Oh, the doom puddles. That's
holy crap.
Yeah, that's going to be fun in the duty finder for people who don't who don't know. But yeah, no, just all the bosses were good, and Cagnazzo, very similar in quality to Scarmiglione.
Yeah.
In terms of just overall boss vibe, it was cool. So gets points. Still having the 2 dungeon. It's interesting now because the expert only has the 2 archfiends as the bosses. So it's pretty Final Fantasy IV centric expert roulette at the moment.
Yep.
Then we have the trial, which I think if I told you the dungeon boss, I think everyone could, if they didn't know already, could probably figure out who the trial boss was.
Right.
And it's our good old buddy Legs. You know I would
your
call
legs and my legs are.
Do you know I know his legs
are completely. Why?
So in Final Fantasy IV, Rubiconte's main mechanic is cloak on, cloak off, which they keep, but they changed considerably. But his sprite, when he opens the cape, his leg is just forward. Like he just like sticks his leg out like he's like trying to hitchhike. So we call him Legs.
Yeah, your legs and my legs are completely different because my legs will always be Isael because she just had legs for days.
I'm not saying these are my preferred legs. I'm just saying his name is Legs. His nickname is Legs. He's got some smooth legs, to be fair. He's a little crackly up top, but he's got it's the tone. He's got tone legs. This is an interesting trial to discuss on kind of both normal and extreme, because they told us that this trial would not be anything like Barbariccia. They said this would be a lot more classic Final Fantasy XIV.
And it's
absolutely is. It hits that nail on the head harder than almost any other fight. Use your words.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you. It is.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically here's the gimmick for the boss, do the puzzle, and you've like got most of the fight down. That's like the core element to it. It's not like Barbariccia where she's hopping to this player to punch them into an AoE, then this one, then this one, then this one, and then there's an AoE in the center, and then there's AoEs along the outside, and then there's raid wide damage, and there's a stack marker, and there's two. All of that is just not present. It's literally like, here is my gimmick, figure out my gimmick.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Yeah.
And then here's a few more gimmicks like as the fight goes on. So it's very much in line with the design. What it makes for, much like Barbariccia, the normal mode, of course, going in with people who've never done it before, falls apart so very quickly. Because his primary mechanic, I call it fuses. It's got a name. It's called Ordeal of Purgation or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's basically a fuse starts in the middle, and then it follows a path to the outer edge to a symbol, like a Zodiarch symbol, and then it does that type of AoE, same as that. But then he starts twisting and turning it to like change the way it connects to the outer edge, and it was a big struggle for a lot of people on the first day.
And then the second day hit, and everybody like brain deaded it. Like, do you think the devs know about how brain dead it is now? Like, did you think they had any idea when they like did they even have like any idea that it was just like they implemented it that way? And it's like, well, yeah. You think they?
Yeah.
Okay.
The main reason is they very frequently speak, like whenever they're talking about like a new fight in like code, like, oh, I don't want to spoil it, but, and they do like Yoshipito's like a 1-sentence description. He'll very often mention that they wanted to do something one way and they decided not to, either because it's only a dungeon or it's only an extreme or it's only a savage. They've mentioned like cut ideas before. This being an extreme, they absolutely by design wanted a method with which the players could very quickly identify. They definitely didn't want any sort of random occurrence happening because they had to make sure it was all possible. But they didn't even make like 2 or 3. Like, actually, no, they do make 2 possibilities for almost all of them. But the fact that there's no third one means it's literally as soon as you know the pattern, you go, I'm going over there. Done. But it's also, yeah, like you don't take any damage during this whole sequence. You can't really do positionals the whole sequence. So the fuse mechanic, I like it from like a flavor perspective, but what it leads to is once you know it, about 50% of the fight is done. And it's the first 50% to boot, because they give you the first 50% to really become acquainted with the fuse mechanic more than anything. I still enjoyed it. I still enjoy doing the fuses, and it still gives me a good laugh every once in a while when somebody gets blasted in the face. Because you have to sit there. It binds you in place. You're like, guys, help.
I just hate it when I like move, but I'm in position actually to, you know, keep uptime. And I like back up like maybe a step. I'm like, well, fuck.
Oh, I mean, you play Dragoon. This is the worst fight in the world for you. How do you like using your? How do you like not using your jumps when you're bound?
I mean, I've grown used to that for fucking Zodiark.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Grown used to is a strong word.
Ass. I mean, like, yeah, like when we were in Zodiark and we were just farming Zodiark, I'm like, yeah, well, fuck, I can't jump now. Fuck, great, yeah.
I wonder if there is a way. Like, is it weird that I'd rather be stunned? So I can't do anything instead I can't be. I can't. It's not just that I can't jump. I can't do anything.
No, I would rather. Okay, I would rather it because the thing about jumps, like jumps are kind of positional. Well, not really positional based, but position.
Yeah, it'll change your position. Yeah.
I would rather it just keep me there. Like when I'm jumping, I'm just there rather than just not being able to jump at all.
Yeah, it's just it seems strange to me that their alternative to the bind mechanics is that you cannot use these skills because they displace the character. Funny thing, you can still LB and it will displace you while you're bound, though.
Right.
So you can LB and accidentally put yourself in range for a blast if you're like pixel perfect dodging. I've seen that happen. So, God, my hair is growing back on my nose. I'm like itching the bottom of my nose. It's driving me fucking crazy. Right here, it's just driving me crazy. That's what I get for baby facing it up. We just got to see what it looks like after Ultimate's done.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's only been 3 days. My beard's like this, like just somehow got a Xeno beard after 3 days. But that's like the majority of the mechanics for the first 50% is the fuse. There's one other thing. There's a merry-go-round with light parties, which I think they actually did really well. That mechanic in particular is kind of just it flies past people's attention. But it being able to do 2 of 3 different types of AoEs and being solvable actually in more ways than I guess the game makes it seem like you can. You can fit all 8 people on one side for that and still actually have enough space to do the whole thing, which is what groups are doing for 1 tank, 1 healer, 6 DPS Rubicante. Yeah. That's a thing.
It's already a thing now. Jesus.
It is a thing because tanks don't have anything to do with this whole fight, so why the fuck bring 2? There's like 2 tank busters and then one
tank buster adds.
The ad tank buster, you just shield someone. You just give them a shield. Like it. I literally with a single sucker and like my own personal like mitt on machinist, I took 87,000. I have 72,000 health. If I was a monk, I would live. Just on that alone, I would live with Riddle of Earth.
And then the 2, the 2 tank.
Yep, doesn't hit hard enough.
Wow.
The tanks have nothing to do in this fight. The boss jumps to the center half the time. There's almost no tank responsibility. Other than the fact that, honestly, if you just brought 1 tank, 2 healers, and 5 DPS, it would be fine. And then you don't even have to do the 8 side split. You just forego 1 tank and just shield 1 DPS. Like it literally doesn't change any aspect of the fight in any major way.
Now I see how you got 100 totems now.
I know, I didn't do that. I did 2 tank the whole time. I got 100 totems because it's a 7 to 8 minute clear. And the fail rate is shockingly low in the party finder. Oh, there's like 15 deaths in every group. Not all of them, but a lot of them. But you'll still clear. Do you know how many near full part? Bro, I had to watch a Gunbreaker Soul the last 1.5% for like 2 minutes straight. It's like you can enrage it, but it's really tough. Oh, Sly, you're going to love this. So I was in the PF earlier getting my last 30 totems. And we go in and I'm in a PF. Everyone's doing the mechanics perfectly fine. Nobody's dying. Nobody's doing anything. And going into the transition phase, it's usually like average PF will be like 52, 53%. A good PF will be under 50 somewhere. Boss was at 57%. And I'm like, how? And then someone points out that the Dragoon's health is only 59,000. And I'm like, that's less than crafted gear. Finally, I read party chat and it says, Dragoon, why do you have an item level 100 weapon equipped? They were doing their Atma farms while they were waiting for the party finder to fill, and they forgot to change the weapon. However, we had no problem beating the Enrage, and we didn't die to any mechanics, so it was perfectly fine. So
I swear you're making this bullshit up.
No, the Atma weapon Dragoon. And then out of embarrassment, they came and subbed to me for 3 months. Which they didn't need to do because the only embarrassing thing was forgetting to change a weapon, but they never died or did anything wrong the whole fight. They literally played perfectly fine. They just had the wrong weapon on. This isn't like Yokai Watch Samurai, where they also died repeatedly. It's a very different story. That was like a samurai that was like dead to every mechanic and had a Yokai Watch on the whole time. This was someone who had an I-100 weapon on and did everything right. And then they put the real weapon on.
Oh my god.
So that was a fun story. That's how hard it is to enrage this fight. And you want to know what's even funnier than that, Sly? That I-100 weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I have had runs with 12, 14, 16 deaths that have killed it faster than that I-100. Like that's literally just the item level being 500 lower was enough to make a run slower than 15 to 16 deaths. So, very hard fight to enrage. Doable, but very difficult.
You know, I'm at the 46% mark. I don't even want to do this shit no more now that you say this, right?
Why? 46% is good.
Yeah, I've only done like one lockout. And then you tell me this.
That's good. Doesn't mean, listen, just because you can kill it like it's unenrageable doesn't mean you don't have to learn it first.
I mean,
you have to learn it before it becomes unenrageable.
Yeah, I get that, but goddamn. Like even just before clearing it, hey, some random asshole with an eye level 100 fucking weapon.
They're not an asshole.
Cleared it.
It was an accident.
They're not an asshole. I'm just saying.
Yeah, unenrageable is not the same as unwipeable. Very wipeable fight. Absolutely a wipeable fight. Because the part where you died on, I'm assuming, is the first mechanic in the second half.
Yes.
Yes. And while it's not a very difficult one, I still see death and destruction everywhere.
Yeah. For the first time getting to it, yeah. So.
Yeah. It's I actually think they went like really, really hard on the like this one particular part. Like it goes from it's like proximity AoE, split damage AoE, spread AoE plus bleed, donut plus point blank AoE plus line AoE spread plus bleed plus either stack or spread wall of what. It's actually like a lot of damage. All the damage in the whole fight happens in that like 45-second string of attacks, and then there's nothing else that fucking happens across the entire fight. It's actually like insane how much damage actually goes out there for an extreme. And I mean, I'm happy with that. It makes the second half of the fight much more exciting, among other things. Other things also make it exciting. Let me tell you, oh yeah. You'll be very excited. Are you doing it after this?
Probably later. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna watch. it's time. Oh, I love it. But no, yeah, I actually, so it's actually led to, as I've done my 100 totems, it's slowly become one of my favorite trials in this expansion.
That's fair.
Strictly
That's
because even the worst fuck ups are only funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's like the one qualifying factor, because you could have so many deaths as long as it's not a complete wipe. There's no mechanic that will wipe you for everyone being dead. All of the mechanics scale to the number of people alive. So you can't have like overlapping spreads. You can't have, the only one thing, there's a stack marker. If you get the stack marker, then it does screw you. But that's about it, really. And it gets points for that because it makes it very comfortable, even in like parties that have lots of deaths and mistakes. You still somewhat can find success in the party finder once you're doing re-clears of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel it. It's good.
Now, the thing about this we have to ask now is, now that we know we have our fiends out of the way, our 4 fiends are out of the way, logic would stand, reason would stand that we already know what's coming next.
I would argue that as well. Yes. I'd be shocked if we don't get exactly what we're thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
If it's not 6.4 gold beds and 6.5 Zeramis, I will actually be kind of shocked. The only other alternative is obviously my long running theory has been Golbez will be joined by Azdaia as a shadow dragon.
Mm-hmm.
It's always the possibility that that's actually not one trial and it's split into 2, and it's like those possibilities are always still there. But at this point, I will be shocked if it's not that. I'm open to being wrong. I'd be okay being wrong, but
yeah,
I will lock that in forever at this point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll agree with it.
I think like this whole plot line's done before 7.0. And then whatever it causes is what we're dealing with in 7.0. Perfect. Now, if Golbez is a dungeon boss, I'm be upset. That better not happen. Golbez being a dungeon boss would genuinely upset me.
Yeah.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. That would fucking suck. I don't know, because like, again, you say that, but there's not a lot that, you know, is going on right now within like, I guess, main story that came out of Whirlit.
Mm-hmm.
So for any, like, to kind of expect like anything to come out of this, I wouldn't say it's far-fetched, but it's highly unlikely that it would just, it's highly unlikely that it would seep into, you know, the kind of main story proper, I guess.
Well, I mean, I think that it's just the fallout of whatever happens here triggers the 7.0 event, and not that this is setting up 7.0 as like the start of like the story for 7.0. It's weird to describe. We were specifically told by Yoshida that that's going to be the case, but these bosses, I'm literally only basing, again, we're not talking about story spoilers, I'm only basing this off of the boss order that we've had so far. That alone gets me to that conclusion. So that's where I'm at with this. But I'm still going to bet Mericidia. No matter what, I'm betting Mericidia as the next expansion location. So
yeah,
keeping that in.
Mericidia, New World.
I mean, that's the only other location. It could be both. It could go to both briefly, but I'd rather just go to one.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're gonna get dragon riding in Mara City. Fucking WoW dragon riding. I'm sorry, not WoW dragon riding. Go Wars dragon riding. Gotta go back further because that's really where it's from. Okay, so that's the dungeon, the trial. That is the 24-man bosses. That's duty support. We talked a little bit about the various other features and Sly. Now you see where I'm coming from because we've almost talked about everything pretty much already.
Yes.
There is one thing we haven't talked about.
Custom deliveries.
That is one thing we haven't talked about. That wasn't the thing I was mentioning, but that is one of them. Custom delivery, by the way, does have a mount behind it as well.
Yes, it does.
So, again, rewards strewn all about. They went nutso with like mountain, minion, and everything rewards. Just another point to them. So, I heard the first part of it's interesting, but doesn't go much of anywhere yet. I have not done it. I do need to do it before reset.
Not yet. But story-wise, yeah, it's definitely interesting. In terms of who Andon is or could be. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's just the starting point. I just want them out. I need things that give me triple triad cards and mounts. Those are my big tickets right now.
Yeah.
But no, so there actually were two things. First, the more important thing, in my opinion, at least. So the new Leap of Faith. It's by far the best one. It's not even a contest.
I haven't done it yet.
All three, and this is foregoing whether or not you like them. All three of the, because you know how all of them have like variations, you know?
Yeah.
All three of them are drastically different layouts. Like it feels like you're playing a different Leap of Faith. And all of them have a good mix of what made the first Leap of Faith good. Lots of jumps with different speeds. And the second one with more course-like running through. The scale is insanely impressive. Like this blows the other. Like the other two are just fucking amateur compared to this one. Like they shouldn't even exist anymore, as far as I'm concerned.
God damn.
I guess they should exist for people who don't like.
Tell them how you really feel, Jesus.
I will say, if you don't like these, this one may cause problems. I almost ran out of time.
No shit. It was causing problems for Yoshi.
I didn't miss any jumps and have to go back to the beginning. Not once. I almost ran out of time.
Oh my god.
Like it takes like 5-ish minutes to do it at a casual pace. Like if you're really good,
what's the timer on it? What's like the full timer?
10 minutes. So if I had fallen off, like obviously I'm spending some time getting to the trophies, but if you miss a trophy, and you have to go back to the beginning, you might actually not finish. There's actually a chance you don't finish because it's really long of a course. I think the jumps aren't as hard. Most of the jumps aren't as hard as the other ones, but it's a very long course.
Yeah.
So I will say, for the sake of giving one that people can complete in 2 to 3 minutes, the old ones are better for that. This is more for like the aficionado, like me. So you need to do it. You need to be checking for it. It's only 40 minutes past the hour, every hour, that it even has a chance of occurring. So it's not like it's all the time. So it's not like something you'll see all the time.
Okay, I'll try it. I won't like it.
You might like it. I think you'll like it just from its. I think you'll be able to appreciate the scale of it. Like when you're in there, it's like sightseeing practically. Like it's less like a jump puzzle and more like sightseeing.
Nah.
It's got gimmicks. It's got gimmicks too.
Oh boy.
The gimmicks are fun. It's like a triple movement speed sprint. It gives you like a sprint to make a long jump, and then it gives you like a course to just run up like super fast for the rest of the buff. So it's like it's Godbert trailer It's Godbert in the trailer kind of speed, where he's like running around the outside. Yeah, it's just it's pretty funny. Oh man. But high quality stuff. On a more serious note, the last thing we haven't discussed in any sort of major note is PvP.
Yes.
I have never seen so much pleasure from like the average player over a new map. So many people are head over heels for this new map.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually did a few matches today. You know how we were saying like this, it would be, I guess the key word for this entire fucking patch is fun.
Yeah.
Fun, but not competitive. I don't think I can say that anymore. It's still competitive. Surprisingly. Like with everything that's going on, like I don't think I have any problems with like actual competition or gauge of competition with this map. Like you'll get the same amount of competition, not the same amount that you would the what's it called, the esports map,
The Palestra? The esports map. You're not wrong.
I mean, that's what it is. But it's not the same. It's not the same as that because there are random elements. There are a bunch of random elements, but still, as a kind of non-neutral map that has gimmicks, I love it. This is probably the best one. Like, good job. Make more of this, please. I don't know how. I don't know where. A Hawk Manor map would probably be pretty fucking lit.
Actually, yeah, that would be pretty. Now that you've said it, I would have never thought about that. But now that you've said it, I actually fully agree. I never even thought of that. Lit. Now I'm already thinking about it. Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that even with all of 14's quirks with its gameplay and how that affects PvP, there is a way to make the experience enjoyable. And funnily enough, they've also, I have to keep going back to this. While it's still not perfect, I feel like they took this doesn't have good enough rewards whole complaint last patch to like the nth degree.
To heart.
Yeah.
They took it to heart. Yeah.
Because while I think PvP absolutely still needs something longer term, and I think series need an upgrade. I'm sorry, seasons. Fucking hate it. Need an upgrade reward wise. The series rewards went extra ham. There's a ton of new stuff in terms of redyeable gear of old stuff that's available in there as well. You still have the old wolf collar conversions that you could do that are there as well. So it's not perfect, but it does feel like there's a big attention to detail on rewards. And I'm hoping that continues because you can make less content. And I'm not saying they should or they are, but you can make less and get more out of it if people are incentivized to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I think they're showing a lot of gumption towards in the first few days of this patch. Especially for someone who's newer and is like even further behind on a lot of these objectives because they haven't done things, haven't been around enough to do anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's impressive. I'm glad to see it. They just need to get seasons like that's been the same reward for every season. It's still kind of just ugh.
7.0 we're swapping we're getting rid of the entire series season thing and that fucking confusion. We're getting rid of that shit. It's called a battle pass.
Or just call it a pass. It doesn't even have to be called battle. Just call it.
Yeah, just pass.
Just PvP
seasonal pass. There, seasonal pass. There
no. Don't use the word season. Just get rid of it. PvP pass. Because then if you call it a seasonal pass, then we have seasons and seasonal passes. Which, granted, is actually still better than season and series. I'll give you that. But
there you go.
I'd rather they both just be named the same thing. Yeah. So I'm overall impressed with 6.3, and it's I don't want to call it unfortunate. There's also something else we haven't talked about, but I don't want to call it unfortunate. But I think a lot of people are still looking at the quantity of the patch, and I am too. You know, not going to say like I haven't talked about it. The quantity of stuff in the patch and in the patches for Endwalker, and still questioning the
quality.
I guess the plan. And yeah, actually questioning. I'll say that, questioning the quality of it. And I think this patch is. It's, for me at least, it's given me a better balance of quality over quantity.
Yeah, I think it's struck a pretty good balance between the two, especially with what we have coming in the near future. Yeah, I think this is a good balance with this 2 weeks later Ultimate, then a few weeks later after that, like so much other stuff. Yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of these slight hits, these slight hits that are giving us.
Yeah, and I kind of want to make a standalone, because a lot of the discussion has still been about it being less content, and it's not less so much as they're just putting it in different places, and that's the thing that's like really hard to convey. Because less dungeons is like the one thing that's always been the most true, and I barely consider dungeon content as it is. But it is really just the comparison of Island Sanctuary, trying to do something like Island Sanctuary, Criterion, and Variant, versus Eureka Bozja, or there's one other thing that I'm forgetting. Eureka Bozja. What's another thing that we didn't get from last expansion? There's one other thing. Like there was an exploration zone. We also traded out something else that we don't have. No, we didn't have a deep dungeon last expansion.
You didn't have a deep dungeon.
I guess Ishgard, kind of like restoration. Ishgard Resto. There you go. Yeah, it's like Ishgard Resto and exploration content versus Variant, Criterion, Island Sanctuary, and I guess a deep dungeon, because we didn't have a deep dungeon last expansion either. We also didn't have Hildebrand last expansion. So it's like it's the number of things they're doing is still roughly the same or higher. It's just that they are very specific things they are doing. And more importantly, the reward structure for said things has utterly failed. And that is hurt. Like, Variant and Criterion reward structure hurt that so much. That could have been an okay, like, alternative or something that you can like occasionally do or choose to do or not to do or whatever. Like, it could have followed that line like Eureka and Bozja did. It didn't. It just fell apart. Delubrum. That was the thing I was thinking. That we don't no big 48-man Savage raid, which I think with the Savage dungeons, whatever. Like, I think they did a great job with the actual dungeon for Criterion Savage. Just rewards murdered it. So we really need to see them continue this path for the reward changes. That, to me, matters more than anything else that they've been doing. So I think they need to figure something out. I don't know what it is. It can't just be a fucking banner on my fucking even for the normal modes, like for Variant and stuff. Like, Variant should be an option for your like like a better option for like tomes or something like that. I don't know. They need to come up with something that isn't just the experience, because it's replacing something that was long-term content for a lot of people, and this is right now short-term content.
I kind of hate the idea. I hate the idea of going into an expansion and we are trading one thing out that we absolutely loved for another thing that's actually pretty good. We end up loving it too. I mean, the end-all be-all solution, I guess, would be to like put everything in one expansion, and you have a bunch
hell
of
yeah!
shit
I mean,
to
of
do.
course we want that, Sly.
I mean, of course we want that, but yeah, like again, the thing is, like, the devs are human. We have human devs. The machines aren't winning yet, so They can't do everything. We can't squeeze everything into one fucking expansion. If we did,
unless
great.
you want AI designed maps for everything. Fucking
God.
AI designed 24.
Let's not get into that conversation. Hell no.
Fuck that.
Oh my God.
Hell no. Not a remote fucking chance. Do not ever go down that route.
No.
Artists are just like, strangle him for even saying it. Strangle him. AI designed ultimate. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, of course we want everything, but we also know that's not going to happen. Yeah, exactly. Our next ultimate is designed by an AI. His name's Omega. You could convince me that Mr. Ozma is an AI. I would believe it. He's not the one doing this one, but I would believe it. I feel that way. Oh, yeah, but anyway, it's just an important point. I know we're going to sound like a broken record over the weeks and months and whatnot as we come to discuss it, but hey, you tuned into our podcast, so get over it. Like what? I don't like. That's what we're. I mean, what do you want me to say?
Way to fucking sell the podcast. Happy you tuned into our podcast. Get over it. Oh man.
Yeah, it's like that's what we're talking about. So we're here. It's like we can't do it. That's just gonna be like, God. Somebody said we should stop talking about it. No, it's a topic. It has to be talked about. It's important. You know what else is important, Sly? A point that
What's up?
We're gonna need its own show for. I don't know if it'll be next week, but we do need its own point for it. Had some job changes, and we got to see them. We didn't get to talk about them last week, but we do get to talk about them now.
But holy fuck, was it polarizing? Jesus Christ.
That's why we got to talk. That's why we probably need another show for it, because I don't think either of them. I'm closer to being able to talk about Machinist, but I barely. Like, I tried playing Machinist in Rubicante today, and I'm like, okay, I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but as soon as I get to the ad phase, I've lost all control. I don't have the Machinist know-how to, like, go from, like, into this ad phase and out of this ad phase in a way that feels good, like I do with Dan.
Yeah.
So that's like, I'll say it's just like some. But Paladin and Machinist, two big topics, not the only topics that we need to discuss, because there is something larger at play. Where would you like to start?
I mean, job changes would be nice.
I mean, which job?
Paladin.
Really? Okay, Paladin. So, how much have you...
I've leveled both. So
well, I mean, I don't know if you've even like logged any time on them since the servers came up. If you've like
a little bit more machinist than Paladin.
Okay,
but still, I'm more interested in Paladin because of the
divisiveness.
That not really the divisiveness. It's just the how. I wouldn't say how abrupt the changes were, but how. Yeah.
No, you know what? I do think that's somewhat, because obviously we knew it was coming, so abrupt's not the right word.
Yeah, but it's not the right word. Yeah, but how
I know what you're saying.
You know, it's yeah. Not really like not stark. The differences is between like pre 6.3 patch Paladin and 6.3 patch Paladin, but like how extreme. Yeah, let's just say that how extreme, because it definitely seemed like. If this is the way they're going to revamp jobs, and you're already telling me that, oh yeah, Dragoon's coming up really soon, I'm worried. I'm worried a little bit. I'm worried a tiny little bit.
You know you're getting jumps on the GCD, right? You know that's what's happening, right? You understand that that's what's happening, right? Like, did you think anything else was going to happen? You know your jumps are going to be GCDs. Like, you know that. There shouldn't even be any copium. You should this just throw this away. You don't need this. Replace it with I already know him. He needs a beer for that one. Yeah. Jump breaker. So I am on the fence of the Paladin changes, of that they are acceptable. for a couple of reasons. Acceptable, not necessarily good. Acceptable means they do exactly what I thought they were going to do because it makes sense for the way the game is designed. Thus, I consider them acceptable. Whether or not they are good, I do not feel qualified to pass judgment on.
Right. And that's why we need people to talk about this. Again, like this is a bit extreme. A bit extreme. And we've had some extreme, job revamps before. One that comes to mind would be Ninja.
Very successful
when that happened. Very successful. Extreme, but got the job done. This time, it's one, I feel it's too early to say.
I don't.
Two, again, like, I level Paladin. I played it to a competent enough extent that, people survive dungeons and shit. So, I'm okay there. But, my whole issue with this is, and I feel like some Paladins would, maybe the ones who are going to be doing the content. Why do this 2 weeks before an ultimate?
Almost all Paladin players I know are actually kind of okay with this because it's not.
I wouldn't be. Yeah. I really wouldn't. I mean, yeah, it's. I don't feel like it's enough time. I mean, so for some, sure. If you are really good at theory crafting and sure, it'll probably be enough time for you to kind of dissect it, be okay with it, and go into ultimate with no problems. Others, not so much. Again, like a change this extreme right before your hardest piece of content, so to speak, it just feels like the timing is off. I like if y'all did this to me before, like, and I was going into ultimate, like, and like y'all did this to Dragoon, I feel like shit. I feel like, you know what? Fuck it. You know what? I might not be with you at the start. Give me about a week later and I'll be with you. But yeah.
Well, I think that makes more sense from a DPS perspective, only because if a DPS undergoes a change, it's a fundamental change to every single thing. This was really more of we're giving you a very set 1 minute burst window and an extra cooldown, and we're changing one of your old cooldowns. So like fundamentally, if you've played tank, nothing here would shock you or surprise you to the point where you wouldn't feel comfortable enough, but you'd need a few days to get used to the new buff window, which may adjust how you like mentally track where you want to use cooldowns. So
speaking of buff window, fucking Nature's Men. Like, yeah, sorry. Like,
that's not even a buff window, Sly. That's a defensive.
I mean, but yeah, like
we'll get there.
Not even saying that. Yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, like a lot of the changes they made to other jobs, too. Just some of them.
Why the fuck did they put a regen on Shake It Off? Who sat down and said, hey, we're going to make Paladin so much better? By the way, we should give Shake It Off a regen. Like they say in the job thing, like, oh, this is to combat heal over time. I'm sorry. This is to combat dots with a heal over time. And I'm like, bro, stop buffing Shake. Stop buffing it. Bro, next expansion, it's going to have Vengeance attached to it. The following expansion, it's going to increase damage by 10%. The following expansion, it's going to be Home Gang for the whole party. Like, fucking every expansion is just going to be Shake It Off, Shake It Off, Shake It Off, Shake It Off.
Careful, Taylor.
It's just like every time like they do something to one tank, they then subsequently look at Warrior and go, let's give something to shake it off. Let's just give them something, right?
Another thing I was looking at, and I was wanting to get your take about this, the Riddle of Earth change.
Man, I like it and I don't.
That's exactly what I'm hearing from people. It's like, it's good, but it's not.
Like, I miss having 30% mitigations, but having 30% every 2 minutes and a hot is like, that's good.
Turn it down.
Like, it's like,
can't turn it down.
I mean, it's like, I'm not mad that it's there. Right. I think of it for like deep dungeon. Like, I'd still rather have 3 30% than 1 30% and a hot. But I still think of it and I'm like, okay, that's good. I wish it wasn't 2 minutes. I know why it's 2 minutes, but I wish it wasn't 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Going back to Paladin real quick. I feel like there's two sides to that discussion that I'm seeing. And it comes from the seriousness of the individual playing it. Now, what I mean by that is I've seen a lot of Paladins touting a broken 63-second ideal rotation for it, again, meaning that they still need to drop atonements in order to be completely optimal. However, the difference between that and not doing that is so minuscule that in terms of just enjoying what you're doing, you probably just forego doing that altogether. So they actually have, in just the plain 60-second standard rotation, they get 3 filler GCDs where they can be any of their GCDs as part of their 2-minute reopener. One of those is almost guaranteed going to be a Divine Might Holy Spirit. The other 2 is going to depend on where you are in your rotation. And in my opinion, that type of design is healthier than the ultra strict 2-minute has to be this way or it's ruined design. It's that exact strictness that has hamstringed so many jobs. So the fact that Paladin's basic standard rotation that doesn't try to squeeze out those couple of extra points has that filler GCD flexibility is, I think, a reasonable answer to the 2-minute meta and the strictness of it, and is a practice that would enhance the whole experience for other jobs. I still would prefer to move away from the 2-minute meta, but that is an alternative within the 2-minute meta.
100%, yes. Please. Yeah.
So it's not, I have to be on this GCD every time I go into my 2s, or the 2s are just really awkward and just not fun, especially if you ever fall out of alignment. This is a nice alternative, because this also means that if you were to somehow like drift even the 1 minute, you now have throughout the entire fight, you now have a 3 GCD window where your guaranteed best burst, you can drift up to 3 GCDs across the whole fight and still be completely within the 2-minute for all your hardest hitting skills.
But again, just throw away the 2-minute meta, please.
Yes. But again, like I said, this is a better solution within that meta than what we see with most other jobs.
Yeah.
Like, how many job rotations can you look up and they say you can do any 3 GCD? Like, whatever you're on, do that here. Doesn't happen.
No. I just miss flexibility.
Yeah.
That's a key thing I miss. I just miss flexibility from, old expansions where you were a little bit loose, but you didn't have to worry about like drifting everything. Like eventually, somehow, some way, by the grace of God, everybody in the raid got together, and we just figured our buff alignment, and it worked, flowed. Whereas now we're on this sort of strict thing, this sort of, I wouldn't say it's like communistic kind of thing, but like here's your 2 fucking minutes. You either do this or you ain't getting no fucking buffs. Like, well, fuck, goddamn. I mean, can we go away from the strip? No. Fuck me.
2-minute communist meta. Woo! That's a new way of putting it. That's going in the books.
Head mages rejoice. Nice. Thank you.
Rotational communism.
I mean, that's basically what it is.
I totally get it.
I agree. It's more of a dictatorship. It's more of a dictatorship than anything, because it's either their way or the highway, and we don't have a highway. So Yeah.
Yeah, the highway's blocked off like it's the way out of Raccoon City. That's as good as you're gonna get.
Pretty much. Yeah. Holy fuck.
Yeah, so that's where I give the Paladin rework points it deserves. What? Here's your 2 minutes, comrades.
2 minutes, comrade.
In Soviet Russia, 2 minutes rotate you. God, Jesus Christ.
I've started something so terrible. I am so sorry.
Have. You have no idea how bad
Oh boy. Oh fuck.
So yeah, anyway. Yeah, I'm just giving it points. However, its new job identity, and actually I say new, but its continued job identity is a big problem still. Do you know what Paladin's job identity is now? And has been, but is like now more pronounced? Too many buttons. Holy fucking shit. I can't fit anything else, and they just gave me another button to boot.
Like, we knew this shit was coming anyway.
But it's like, that's what's left.
We've always been talking about button bloat. Every expansion we talk about button bloat. And it's like, well, somehow, some way we avoid it. But at the same time, like, it eventually creeps into, like,
no, Paladin never escaped it is the problem. They literally cut every job's button bloat except Paladin, and they just kept giving it more.
Well, again, when you revamp a job, what the fuck do you think is going to happen?
Usually again, they'll cut the buttons. Not anymore.
No. Mm-mm. Nah, fam. You brought shit back.
Like,
I mean,
Paladin's the only job, especially now with the change of them only having the one. If I was ever to give a job the one button combo as like an out, it would be Paladin, because they have the 3 combos. They have Goring Blade, they have Clemency, Holy Spirit, Holy Circle, Confiteor. Confiteor becomes all this other shit. They have AoE button 1, AoE button 2, and then they have Circle of Scorn and Expiation. But then they have like 6 billion other buttons on top of that between roll actions and all. Like, I'm going to just count all the buttons I have bound on my and I think that's all of them, but let's see. I'm going to name every Paladin skill right now. I'm going to start with the easy ones. Fast Blade, Riot Blade, Royal Authority, Atonement, Expiation, Iron Will, Cover, Low Blow, Total Eclipse, Prominence, Circle of Scorn. You'll need a button for your pot, so I guess I'll include that. Passage of Arms, Shield Bash, Arm's Length, Intervene, Shirk, Reprisal, Holy Sheltron, Bulwark, Interject, Intervention, Fight or Flight, Holy Circle, Holy Spirit, Confiteor, Shield Lob, Divine Veil, Provoke, Rampart, Sentinel, Clemency, Sprint, Requiescat, Goring Blade, Hallowed Ground. And you know what? I'll throw the LB in there just for good measure.
Okay, a thing that a couple people brought up in chat: the whole 1, 2, 3 with one button. People said they didn't want that.
Paladin is the only job that deserves it. It's the only one.
People said they didn't want that.
It's the only one. And even that's not enough.
Years of people saying this. Years of people saying that, like, no, I don't want it, even though we have it in PvP. So you don't want it in PvE? I mean, people are asking for it now, which is stupid. But
I don't want it either. It's just like, there's too many fucking buttons here.
Like, I mean, really,
like, I guarantee you, Circle of Scorn.
You bring up a good point. You bring up a good point. It is, and you bring up a good point. It's accessibility, and everybody's definition of accessibility will not be the same. So for some people, like, I think give the option for accessibility, but at the same time, if you don't like it, like, as a player, if you don't want it, you don't like it, don't use it. Like, you don't have to shit on somebody else for using it, like, for accessibility, whatnot. That's just it, honestly. Like, just make it an option.
Here's what we do, Sly. If we don't do that, here's what we do. Get rid of Clemency. Just allow you to cast Holy Spirit on allies if you want to heal them instead, so you can cast on enemies or allies. Goring Blade, a transformed button off of Fight or Flight instead of its own separate button. Requiescat becomes Confiteor, which becomes the combos. Get rid of Cover, get rid of Shield Bash, and that at least gets them down to a reasonable place. A reasonable place. to some capacity. And also, I think Circle of Scorn is gone next expansion. I'm certain it's going to be gone. Absolutely.
There's a lot of shit going to be gone next expansion.
Yeah. I can't see it surviving. But here's the problem. They're going to give us 6 more buttons after they do that. So it's going to be just as bloated. You can't convince me it won't happen. It's just going to happen.
We can't escape it.
No. I don't know why Paladin can't escape it. I don't know why the kid just can't escape. Oh, man. I don't want to get rid of clemency. I just want to have Holy Spirit castable on allies. That's it. Just like make clemency become Holy Spirit, and now it can be cast on enemies or some shit. I don't know. Like, just so it's like the heal becomes also a damage option. If you really need to spam it still for that, I mean, I love it on Paladin. I love being able to spam clemency, but just bake it into Holy Spirit, and then if you cast Holy Spirit on an ally, it heals them. That's it. That's keep it, but get rid of it at the same time. So it's just too many buttons, man. It's just too many fucking buttons. Oh, man. And it's funny. It doesn't feel like that many when you're doing your burst. It only feels like a lot when you realize how many different places you can use these buttons.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's Paladin. And like I said, Warrior, they gave it the Shake It regen, so that covers the tanks.
Yeah.
Then we got the Machinist buff, Sly. Sly, I remember at an interview with said Yoshi P that I had, and I asked him about a certain skill called Hypercharge, and asked if it could, why it wasn't.
Is this ping related?
Why it wasn't a charge system when players often have issues with the ping and Hypercharge. And I was told they didn't want to make it like every other job that was getting the charges. And now they're a charge. They're a charge with a few extra seconds to boot. So you have a little bit more time to do it. It is such a quality of life improvement for people who have ping related issues. Funny for me, it actually fucks with my head because I see I have 3 seconds left on the timer, but I'm done with my last charge. So like I still have like my old habits to get over.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, pretty good. Pretty good. They got about a 2% DPS increase, and they got Dismantle back, which I also said verbatim was something they should do. However, it made sense before they changed Nature's Min. And then they changed Nature's Min in the same
Nature's
patch.
Min.
And now the Dismantle doesn't look like as good of an idea.
Yeah.
Because now Machinist has a new weakness. It is the only one of the ranged fizz that their bonus support tool must be targeted on a boss and cannot be used if there is no target. So in any place where you cannot reach the target, you cannot target the target, or there is no target, it is worse. It's good. It means you should be moving a tool like that from one place it was before to a different place. Still completely workable. 10% for 10 seconds. Awesome. I honestly think it should be 90 seconds, not a minute 20, but all the same. But that is going to be a consideration. Yeah, it's like Feint, Addle, Reprisal, essentially. Yeah, it's like that. But it's the only one of the range fizz that has that potential downside. It just means that people have to learn to use it differently than the other ones. But it does, of course, come with the advantage of matching the design of the game. Dots are huge right now, and it helps a lot to have damage reduction on dots because it does snapshot the dot damage as well based on your damage reduction. So is going to be really good for anything like that. Superior, I would argue, for anything like that. It has ups and downs. I think people should feel better about Machinist now. It is also, I believe, I guess I'll wait for the numbers, but from what I understand, it is the standout highest Fizz range DPS now, and since it has an extra damage reduction utility, it's considered acceptable at this point.
Yeah.
But it might have difficulties breaking people's perception on it, and I still think they could have gone a little further damage-wise. A little further. Another percent. Another percent of DPS increase.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Especially because, let's be honest, they're going to buff Bard and fucking Dancer somehow next patch, and then it's going to go right back to the same place it was at. Let's be honest. It's going to happen.
Yeah. I fucking hate balance in this game.
Which part of it do you hate?
The lack of it.
No, we have great balance overall. Which, again, I always say, we actually do. We make mountains out of molehills because it's, yes. We make mountains out of molehills in order to drive conversation. But our balance is actually pretty solid across the board. Especially if you were to look at, if you just compare all the jobs like across the board right now.
Jack, I agree. Making the mountains out of molehills keeps it in fucking check.
That's
if
fine.
We don't say anything,
but they're not. It's not like terrible.
If we don't lose, if nobody loses their shit over like the smallest thing, then we get. And I hate to use this as an example. Initial Astro.
Let's just put it this way, Sly, and chat's already brought it up. When we had a misbalance in our endgame raid, they changed it by about 3% and then 1% in the second phase. When WoW makes a mistake, they change it by 50%. We're in a much better place. So this, again, we're talking about like low single-digit percentage differences versus double-digit percentage differences and whatnot. So
okay. I mean, it's not the worst, but it could be better. I'll say that.
It can always be better.
Give you that.
It's never going to be perfect, and I think anyone
it's
who expects it to be perfect, that's unreasonable.
Yeah.
We missed the mark. So sorry. We'll sort it out. WoW's like, nerf it, nerf it, nerf it, nerf it. Mid pull, nerf it anyway. Don't care. Unfortunate. Oh man. Just a couple of other small things I think squeaked in with the job changes. They made changes to all of the tank stances. I don't know entirely what that was for. I don't know if it was so you could fix accidentally turning on your stance quicker, or if it was something because they like made it like its whole like action. Yeah, it might be. So the making it a new action thing is visual clarity. I have no doubt about that. It was more so the reduction of 3 to 2 seconds. I think it's just. I think the 3 to 2 seconds thing was just for sake of making it quicker to fix accidentally toggling it on or getting out of it fast. I think it's literally just to help fix accidents, and that's it. But the actual secondary skill, it says on the job change. Let's just look at that. Yeah, accidental turn-ons. What else was there? There was the Riddle of Earth, Life Surge going down to 40 seconds, which is long overdue, in my opinion, for Dragoon. Same with Phlegma for Sage. That's 40 seconds now. Man, that Nature's Min. God. Nature's Min just so good now. Like, it was basically just like a deploy low tool before, and like maybe you give it to a tank if they're taking repeated tank hits. But now it's like insane. Curing Walton Samba while dancing. So
while dancing,
that is good, but you are griefing yourself because you're going to clip your dance if you do that. So as a forewarning, it's nice if you need to do it, but try not to if you can. A size 40 seconds, Phlegma 40 seconds, and Adder Sting, huge accessibility update for Sage. You get it now from your own broken AoE shield. So when you do AoE shields and it breaks, you will get an Adder Sting. Huge for Sage. I thought, dude, every time they make a Sage change, I'm not even thinking about it. But like, they keep knocking it out of the park with the Sages. Like,
I remember hearing this in the middle of frozen A. Darian, shout out to Darian. She was losing her shit over this. I was like, well, damn, okay. All right, Sage. Like, again, great. Like, this kind of shit right here, yeah.
Yeah, it's because so Toxicon is the same potency as Dosis, at least the last I checked, memory serve. So the big thing is that you're getting a return on your choice to use an instant heal with now an instant damage skill that doesn't cost MP. So it creates a higher MP efficacy on your Eucrasian AoE heal and rewards you with more mobility. And in an AoE, it will be a DPS increase as well. So everything about that change is
nice.
Great. It's crazy to me because like when I looked at Sage, looking back at like 6.1 before they got the Holos change, I thought it was like okay, it just had kind of weak shielding compared to Scholar, and then they fixed that with Holos and they made Holos like a god tier button. But it's crazy to me how a job I didn't think needed too much attention, everything it's gotten has been like a picture perfect like godsend change that improves the job on a considerable level to a job that was already fun and had very few flaws to begin with. And it's crazy because Scholar's no less popular and no less good either. It hasn't like made Scholar a less popular choice, but I think it's gotten people to go back to playing Sage more than they were before. It's like it's insane how like well that's the and okay, crazy statement. I think Scholar and Sage as like comparatively role wise might be the best balanced between the two. In terms of like you feel like you're playing two completely different jobs and you can play either of them and it's a good choice.
Yeah.
So non-homogenized job comparison.
Yeah.
So
because that's what
impressive.
That's at the end of the day, that's what we want. We want, job identity. And I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head with Sage and Scholar. Like they have the right amount of, I guess, individualism.
Yeah.
That they need. Yeah.
They're path to. I mean, to be fair, when you start just spamming your damage over time skill by pressing 1-1-1-1-1, they don't really seem that different. But in terms of like how you approach getting, like,
how you use your tools,
that.
that's the main difference maker.
Yeah. So listen, I mean, you got to point it out. Like everyone, I was having this discussion earlier with someone. I was like, they keep over homogenizing jobs, and then I was like, okay, would you honestly say playing Scholar and playing Sage feels the same? Would you say that playing any of the casters feels like playing the same job? Would you say like playing any of the range feels like playing the same job? It's like what they accomplish is homogenized. How they feel to actually get there is still drastically different for everyone except the tanks, like 3 of the tanks.
Right.
3 of the... Well, no, I'm sorry. The 2 pairs of 2 tanks would be more accurate. Because like Paladin and Gunbreaker are kind of tied up together. And even then, Gunbreaker is super strict and Paladin isn't. So...
I remember having this conversation at the beginning of the expansion, and like this is like Meteor Tour time, and like looking at all the tanks, it's like, well, fuck, you pretty much did the same thing. You just gave everybody a fucking mini TBN.
Yeah, and it ended up not being that way at all. But those skills have actually
like not totally close. Not that. Yeah.
Not that, but they still all were filling the same void, like the same identity on each of the tanks. They were all like a shorter cooldown that could be used on yourself or an ally, essentially.
Yeah.
Even if they all function mildly differently, they still all do fill that void. Everyone's like, they're giving everyone else a TBN. Dark Knight uses one too, and they're like, what do we call that one? Is that just TBN too? The
TBN Prime,
the
TBN Prime,
the really blackest night, TRBN.
Man,
that's a topic for another time. But overall, job changes. I'd say very good. Machinist feeling in a much better place. Paladin divisive, but performing well thus far, it seems, especially with the added cooldown with Bulwark. And then, Shake, of course, is fucking... Yeah, I know what you just read. I know what you just read. I know it. Don't worry. I'm aware. Yeah. Don't worry. No, I know. I read it too, but I know. Yeah, no, that's there. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, they know who they are. Anyway, it reminds. I saw that as a nickname for Passion of the Christ too. Oddly enough, yeah, something like that.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, that was.
Man,
that was fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crucify this. That's from Family Guy. That one. That wasn't the one I saw. That was one.
No.
I saw a lot of nicknames for Passion of the Christ too. Yeah, Sly's gone. Stop, Sly. It's not that funny anymore. Stop reading it. You just keep reading it over and over again. Stop. You gotta stop. It's okay. It's okay. You'll be fine. It just gets better with each laugh. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Anyway, but with that, we've gone over pretty much all of the most important details for everything. And it overall turned out a little better than I expected today, patch-wise. But we still have a lot of stuff to judge about the patch, and still definitely a few holes to fill.
Yep. Stuff that we haven't gotten yet. But again, we will definitely have a conversation about job changes with the right people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's gonna
someone that's more than us.
The big thing is, basically, it's not one we can have right now, because by the time we do it next Friday, all of the most qualified people are neck deep in ultimate prep. So it would be unreasonable to ask them to come away from that for this. Some of them probably could, but I think unreasonable to.
I feel like this is the conversation we need to have. I feel like this is the conversation we need to have during our top support session.
I kind of agree, because we want to see how those changes affected especially based on fight design. Yes. Yeah. So. Yeah. All right. Yeah. No, I completely agree. If not during that, then sometime adjacent to it in like the week following.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely.
But other than that, 6.3, they really got to rein in these server problems, but I'm overall pleased with it, especially the long-term goals and rewards that they propped in. I plan on going back to doing maps, which I haven't done in ages, because there's a plethora of awards. I say that like that on purpose too. Yeah, that's on purpose too.
Nice word.
Not plethora. Yeah. Say plethora because it upsets me. There you go. Yeah. Like a thesaurus, a plethorus. There we go. And we will not have a show in 2 weeks, Sly. Don't forget that. Next week, yes, but the following week, no.
Yeah.
No.
No.
That's not happening. So with that, I think we can wrap up this week's show and get to our weekends, whatever we may have planned for them. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this week's episode. Thank you again to our sponsors, real quick, over on Patreon. Don't need to support over there. All our content's available for free, but we appreciate those of you over there who are supporting it. And on top of that, Steel Series and Advanced GG. They got commands in the chat. We've got discount codes under the YouTube video, so be sure to check those out and ask any questions if you need to. But Sly, what do you got going on this weekend? Why don't you talk to the people for a bit?
Well, again, I'm back. I'm back, bitches. Back from staycation. You can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox. You can find me on Twitter @Sly the Fox. Nothing really this weekend, but this coming week, starting on the 16th at 9 p.m. PST, so that's the 17th, 12 a.m., there's the GBO2 Steam PC test, basically. It's a PC test. And that will be going until the 18th, 9 p.m. PST, or the 19th, 12 a.m. EST. So, then I'm gonna be doing quite a bit of GBO2 on PC. So if you have any questions, want to get into it, want to learn about it, come see your boy. Hi, it me. I like Gundam. Other than that, community game night on Sunday, the usual SMT Saturday, Station WSOY on Saturday. And while Happy is doing Ultimate, I will be working with Frosty for a couple of hours, depending on what day he puts me on. But I'll be doing the Ultimate broadcast, watching him and a bunch of other teams try to tackle top. But just be a bunch of bottoms. How you doing? Yeah. That's pretty much it for me. Thank you. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Happy, what are you doing? What are you up to?
So you can find me, Mr. Happy1227, at all available locations. Ultimate prep is one thing. I have to wake up at 4 a.m. a lot of days. Not for this weekend. I'm sorry. I have to wake up at 3 a.m. to raid at 4 a.m. While we've been prepping for it. So that's been absolute torture for me because I've been doing it since like mid-December on and off. Going to be doing that quite a bit, though. Like most days next week, and then maybe like the weekend before. I don't think we're doing it anymore. Other than that, I will be making time for Count Up to try and finish Final Fantasy 7 and 8 before Ultimate comes out as well. Working through OG 7 now. I do have to get through 7 Remake on normal, and then I have to get through 8, but I can get through a lot of that stuff pretty quick. So we'll see if I end up having the time to do that. If not, at least get through base 7 and some of 7 Remake, because I actually kind of want to log into 14 and do treasure maps and stuff and MGP stuff and all that. And I want to make sure I'm working towards those goals. Yeah. Granted, I can do that at any point, but what better time than the present? I will also be doing a cooking stream on the 22nd to make all of my food prep for Ultimate.
Prague stew!
Not just Prague stew, but yeah, that's going to be among the things that I'm making that day. I'm going to make more because I made Prague stew last time and then I ran out and then I had to start buying like just one-time meals, and I don't want that this time. I want to make sure I have some other stuff.
What's the other food we're going to be making?
I'm probably just going I'm probably going to just make a lot of stuff that can be combined for meals. So like I'm going to make a ton of chicken breasts, I'll make some stir fry with some noodles. I'll make maybe
farmer's breakfast.
I don't know, because farmer's breakfast I have to make on the day. If I make it before and then heat it up, it's disgusting compared to making it on the day. So that's not. But I will. But I should prepare just make a bunch of breakfast sausages and stuff so I can just fry an egg real quick and have it with that and whatnot. But yeah. I'm gonna be making a feast. Probably for 6 days worth of raiding, and then if we go past that, which it's Ultimate, it's not unreasonable to expect going longer than 6 days. We'll have more. But yeah, tons of cooking stuff. Next month is also going to be very nutty because there's a lot of releases next month, and then March and whatnot. We'll see how that goes. But that's going to be a wrap for me. That's all I got going on.
Yep.
Just work. YouTube, Twitch, work. Chocobo. Work. What?
Chocobo work?
No, Chocobos work. However, if a Chocobo got a job, they would be going to work. There you go.
Yeah.
With that, time for us to wrap up.
It is.
So thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week with either a spoiler cast or something else. We'll have one of maybe.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I'm
gonna do some hitting up today.
I'm gonna shoot you some ideas.
Okay. I'm gonna do some stuff. I'm gonna do some stuff too.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Until then, I bid you adieu.
Take care. See you next week.